I thought she loved me. I thought she saw me for who I really was. I cut my hair, left my husband, changed everything. But she wasn't in love with me. She wanted what I had. And when I let her in, she didn't just take my heart. She took my wife. They say when someone sees the real you, it changes everything. I used to believe that. Now, I know it just makes it easier for them to destroy you. My name is Lauren Mitchell. I was 38 when this started. Married, suburban, 2 kids, 2 dogs, a husband who mowed the lawn and paid the bills. We weren't unhappy. We just weren't anything. The kind of marriage where conversations become schedules, kisses become habits, and the silence between questions stretches into years. Then I met her. Her name was Mallory, new hire at my firm. She was 31st, witty, effortless. The kind of woman who could wear jeans to a board meeting and still command attention. Everyone loved her. But she only talked to me. We bonded over stupid things, lunch orders, coffee temperature. That one HR guy we both secretly hated. At first, I thought she was just being nice. Then she started waiting for me in the parking lot after work. She said I made her feel calm. I didn't know how to respond, so I laughed. She said, "Don't laugh when someone gives you something honest." And just like that, I was hooked. We started texting. First about work, then about everything else. One night she sent me a playlist called For When You Want to Run. I listened to it in my car. Twice. Then went inside and cried next to my sleeping husband. The next morning, she asked me, "Do you ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" I said, "Every single day." She didn't say anything, just looked at me like I'd finally passed a test. That weekend, she invited me for a drink. I said no. Then I said, maybe. Then I said yes. It wasn't a date, but it wasn't not a date. She didn't touch me. She didn't have to. I hadn't felt that scene in years. I told myself it was harmless, just connection, just friendship. Then she asked me a question that changed everything. What would you do if no one expected anything from you tomorrow? And in that moment, I knew. She saw through me, and I wanted to be the version of me that only she could see. That night, I went home and deleted my Pinterest wedding board. The next week, I cut my hair short. Really short. The week after that, I moved into the guest room. My husband didn't ask why. Maybe he already knew. Then Mallory kissed me. It was late. I'd had 2 glasses of wine and 1,000 repressed thoughts. She leaned in slowly. Her eyes didn't even close. She said, "You don't have to decide anything tonight. Just feel it." And I did. I felt everything. We started seeing each other secretly. Lunch breaks turned into late nights. I told her things I never told anyone. About my childhood, my fears, my marriage. She held it all like it was sacred. She told me she'd never done this before. With a woman. That she was scared. That I made her brave. I told her I was terrified. She said, "That means you're alive." We weren't perfect, but we were real. That's what I told myself. Then came the day I told my husband. It was messy. Quiet at first, then loud. He asked if I was leaving him for her. I said no. Then I said yes. I moved out the next month, got a tiny apartment downtown, started over. Mallory helped me move, unpacked my books, cooked me pasta, held me when I cried. I thought I was rebuilding my life, but I wasn't. I was handing her the keys. It started small. She stopped answering my texts right away. Said work was crazy. Started hanging out with a mutual friend from my old neighborhood. I didn't think much of it. Until that friend, Caroline, called me. Caroline is my ex-wife. We married young, divorced quietly, stayed friends. She said, Mallory reached out to me. Said she wanted to understand more about my past. Wanted to know how I used to feel about women. I froze. Caroline asked, Is everything okay? I said yes. But inside, I knew something had shifted. Mallory stopped sleeping over, stopped making playlists, stopped asking how I felt. Then, one night, she didn't show up at all. No message, no call. I waited, all night. At 3 a.m., I checked her Instagram. She had posted a story, drinks, laughter, a hand on her shoulder. It was Caroline's. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself they were just talking. The next morning, Mallory came over. She looked tired, distracted. I asked if she was okay. She said, I think we moved too fast. I said, I left everything for you. She said, No, you left everything for you. I just reminded you it was possible. And that was the moment I knew she never really saw me. She saw what I had, what I could give, what she could take. And when I asked her, Are you seeing Caroline? She didn't even blink. She said, I'm not obligated to answer that. Then she left. And I haven't seen her since. But Caroline? She blocked me 2 days later. And last week, I saw them. At the farmer's market, holding hands, laughing. And Mallory was wearing my coat. I didn't say anything when I saw them. Caroline and Mallory, together, holding hands, smiling like they built the world from scratch. She was wearing my coat, a gift from my mother, worn and familiar and utterly mine. And now, it belonged to the woman who made me believe she was building a new life with me. I should have walked away, but I didn't. I followed them, not for long, just long enough to see it wasn't new. They moved like a couple, not like two women exploring something scary or exciting. They moved like they'd done this before, because they had. That night, I opened a bottle of wine, sat down at my desk, and started digging. It's amazing what you can find when you're not looking for the truth, but for patterns. I remembered something Mallory once said about running into an old friend at her last job, how she moved cities because it got too complicated. So I looked up her LinkedIn, found her previous firm, messaged one person, then another. 3 ignored me. 1 replied. Her name was Naomi, early 40s, works in HR. She said, You're not the first person to ask about Mallory. That sentence hit me like a freight train. She offered to call. On the phone, Naomi said, There was another situation, very similar to what you described. Mallory got close to someone, a woman who was married. Things escalated, got weird. Then suddenly, Mallory moved out of state. I asked, What happened to the other woman? Naomi paused. She ended up in the psych ward for 2 weeks. Silence. She was never the same after Mallory, said she lost her identity, that Mallory rewrote her. Her words, not mine. My hands were shaking. I asked if I could talk to that woman. Naomi said, I'll ask, but I doubt she'll want to reopen that. I waited 2 days, no response. Then, on the 3rd day, I got a message. No name, no greeting. Just, You'll feel crazy for a while. That's how she works. Attached was a PDF, scanned notes from a journal, photos of text messages, screenshots of social posts. It was all so familiar. Same phrases, same compliments, same playlist titles. Mallory didn't fall for me. She recruited me. And Caroline? She wasn't some accidental rebound. She was the next step. Because Caroline had something I didn't. A following. After our divorce, she started gaining traction on TikTok. Mental health content, LGBTQ+ storytelling, vulnerability. She was becoming visible. And Mallory? She loved to be near visibility, even if she had to use someone else's life to get there. I tried calling Caroline, Voicemail, I tried messaging her, email, her mother, nothing. Then, one night, I got a DM from a burner account. The message read, "She's doing it again. She used you. She's using her. She's filming it all." I froze. Attached was a photo, blurry, but unmistakable. Mallory, sitting in a bedroom, a tripod in the corner, a phone set to record, and Caroline, dancing in front of it, playfully, oblivious. I zoomed in on the corner of the photo. My coat was hanging on the chair. That was my apartment, the one Mallory helped me move into. She was filming in the same place she once told me was the safest space she'd ever known. The betrayal wasn't romantic anymore. It was surgical. I didn't go to the police. What would I say? She stole my heart and now she's stealing someone else's? They'd laugh. They always do. So I did the only thing I could. I documented everything, every message, every playlist, every gift, every lie. I printed it all, bound it, wrote a letter, and mailed it to Caroline. I don't know if she read it. I don't know if she ever will. But a week later, Mallory deleted her Instagram. Her TikTok disappeared. And Caroline posted something. Just a photo. A close-up of a blank notebook. Caption, "New chapter." Writing it myself this time. I'll never know if she meant it for me, but I want to believe she did. Because some people don't just break your heart. They wear it. They make it part of their costume. Try it on, perform in it. And when they're done, they hang it up. Move on to the next role. I still see Mallory sometimes. Not in person. In others. In the way someone tilts their head when they say, "You're different." In the pause before someone compliments your courage. In the way certain songs make me pull over and cry without warning. She changed me. And not in the way I thought she would. Because she taught me that love isn't always a home. Sometimes, it's a heist. And when someone hands you a mirror and says, "This is who you are now," you better ask who's holding the glass. Because if it's Mallory, you're not becoming yourself. You're becoming her next project.